Good morning, everyone. And here we are live streaming again in October. We are commemorating Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And this is our third live stream for the month. I am super excited to share that today I am here with SAVE's Youth Empowerment Group. It's a group that we love hosting because we love the energy, everything that they stand for, and I can't wait to hear more from them. I would love it if we can open our conversation today by just, if all of you can introduce yourselves, share your pronouns, maybe something interesting about you. Anybody who wants to start.
Hi, as you know, my name is Aashka. I use she, her, hers pronoun. And I've been a part of Team STYT for 3 years now. An interesting fact about me is that I play tennis for my school. And I joined STYT actually through a friend who wanted to volunteer here, but was not able to. And she encouraged me to join. And I'm so grateful that I actually did, because I learned so much here about the issues that actually impact us.
Thank you, Aashka, and thank you for taking time to join us today. I can only imagine how busy all of you are with your schedules, and you with tennis too. So thank you. Who would like to go next?
Hi, my name's Anya. I'm fine with any pronouns, honestly, and I've been a member of SAVE since the October of last year, so I just joined pretty recently, actually, but I've really enjoyed my time here a lot. And I guess an interesting fact about me is that I'm left-handed.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Who would like to?
Hi. Oh, sorry. Hi, my name is Arista. I use she, her pronouns. I've been a member of Team STYT for almost 4 years. And one interesting fact about myself is that I have a cat named Chef.
A cat named Chef. How did the cat get that name?
My brothers named her, and it just kind of stuck ever since. So yeah.
Thank you, Arista.
And my name is Summer, and I use she, her pronouns. I've been a member of STYT since freshman year. And an interesting fact about myself is that I have the same birthday as my brother, but he's 4 years older than me.
Okay. I was going to say, is it the same year too? Then we're talking about twins. Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you for sharing an interesting fact. I want to actually go back to something that Aashka just mentioned. Aashka called you all as Team STYT. And I had opened our conversation saying that we are here with our youth empowerment group. So maybe we can, share a little bit about what Team STYT stands for, what's the work you all do, and how did that name, what's the name all about?
Yeah, sorry. My computer froze. Team STYT is part of our youth services program, which is SAVE's violence prevention and awareness program. And their goal is to provide the community with resources and tools to have a healthy relationship through campaigns and community activism. Mm-hmm. And so we present workshops at the middle school and high school level to educate youth on characteristics of healthy relationships and how to support others who have experienced harm.
Team Stronger Than You
Awesome.
Think encourages peer support for students experiencing dating abuse by recognizing their inner strength. And best of all, this is a group tailored for youth by youth. And our team members and our team leaders actually give us full autonomy of how we would like to create this change in our community. Mm-hmm. And the campaign was actually first initially started by a generous grant from Kaiser Permanente. Mm-hmm. And since its start, Team STYT has had many milestones, and I'm really lucky to have been a part of some of them. And some of my favorites actually include leading Symbiosis, which is our youth-led yearly round annual conference that we have, where we discuss we have conversations about healthy relationships and dating violence prevention, LGBTQ empowerment, and youth activism. And we hold this every February. And it's a really good opportunity for more people to learn about teen dating violence. And we bring a whole bunch of different groups together to lead workshops. And it's just a really fun day event. Some other milestones that are some of my favorites are going to the Newark Days Parade. And unfortunately, we weren't able to go last year because of COVID-19. But this is like a day where we get to just walk through the parade, and then we decorate the van. And it's a really fun time for all of us to spend together. And then something else is that we've recently rebranded Team STYT, and Arista actually helped design like a lot of the logo stuff. And then we were able to make STYT merch and sell that. Actually, not sell that, we like gave it out for symbiosis participants. And it's a really great opportunity for like all of us to work together. And then last but not least, like my favorite thing about STYT besides the events are just our bi-monthly meetings that we have every Friday. And we just discuss a lot of different topics that we don't usually talk about in school or at home. So it's just one of my favorite times throughout the week where I get to like talk about things that are like on my mind and things that I don't really get the chance to talk about with other people. Yeah.
Wow. One question, what does STYT stand for? Is it an acronym?
It stands for Team Stronger Than You Think, which is like, we're trying to like show that people are stronger than they think, that they can go through everything and ask for help and come out stronger than they were.
Yeah, love it. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I was going to ask, when we're talking about Team Stronger Than You Think, how does somebody like follow you? Are you on Instagram, or, you know, just to keep up with everything you're doing? What's a good place for the community to get connected with your work?
Yeah, our Instagram is a pretty good place. It's at Team STYT, I'm pretty sure. And I think you can definitely go there and keep up with a lot of the events that we're planning, because we post about it pretty regularly. And we have a symbiosis coming up too, so next year. So definitely there'll be a lot of information about that.
Thank you. So I know some of you mentioned it briefly, but I'm really curious, you know, what brought you to SAVE and this work? Is there something that motivated you to join SAVE and take, you know, especially do this work of prevention and talking about healthy relationships in our community?
I said it like a little bit before that one of my friends wanted to volunteer here, but and so I volunteered too after she told me to. But she told me about what like SAVE does and told me about Team STYT, and it was just something like so unique and something you don't see a lot here. And so I was like, I thought I could try it out and see what they actually do and how they help the community. And when I joined, I loved it so much that I continued it for the past 3 years.
I was actually first introduced to Team STYT a long time before I joined, because one of my classmates invited some of my friends and I to attend Symbiosis a couple of years ago. I think she was a member of Team STYT at the time. And I found the whole event like really, really amazing because of how like STYT kind of cultivated a safe space for everyone to learn and to grow and, you know, educate themselves in a lot of things that weren't really talked about. So to me, it kind of gives me the ability to discuss topics that people at home or school never really brought up, like unhealthy relationships or like, I guess, being part of the LGBTQ community. And it's just a really great way for me to educate myself and others on topics that I'm pretty passionate about.
Thank you. Yes.
I was introduced to Team STYT by Summer. She urged me to join when I was a freshman, and I was hesitant at first because of the time commitment. But I'm really glad I joined because I was introduced to so many people with the same curiosities as me, and I've learned so much through being exposed to a lot of discussions about topics I've never talked about or heard about. And I realized how unaware I was about so many important things. So it's really helped me learn and educate others.
Thank you. And Summer?
For me, my brothers were actually a part of Team Stronger Than You Think when they were also in high school. And they told me a lot about their work and what they did. And then I was also like really lucky to be able to see some of the like events that they put on. So then when I got to high school, this really encouraged me to also like put myself out there and learn more about teen dating violence and like what I can do for my community. So then as a freshman, I joined Team Stronger Than You Think, and it was just like a really great place for me because I got to like express myself and feel safe in this environment. And like Arista said, we talk a lot about stigmatized topics that aren't really brought up at school or even like at our house in our house. So I feel like it's a really good chance for me to learn more about things that I'm unaware about. And I'm really happy I got to do it because now I feel like more educated, and then I feel like I can help more of my peers and like my community whenever I need to.
Stepping towards, why we're doing these sessions in October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I was curious, what does this month mean to all of you? What does Domestic Violence Awareness Month mean to all of you? How is it landing for you? What are you thinking about this month?
For me, I think this month is a time to not only spread awareness about domestic violence and the reality of relationships, but it's also a time to educate yourself and speak up about domestic violence and also provide support. I think domestic violence is such a common issue, and it's also much more complex than people think it is. And it's so much easier to ignore it, scroll past it, than to confront it, because it could be very uncomfortable to talk about sometimes. But I think that vulnerability that comes with that uncomfort is necessary to amplify voices, break stereotypes, break barriers. And yeah, I think this month is the perfect time to do that.
Thank you. That is so well said. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, Arista. But like Arista said, I think it's like, I feel like we should be learning about this throughout the year, but specifically for October, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I think it's a time for everyone to educate themselves and see that domestic violence really is a serious issue. And people often disregard it and might not even know that it's going on in their own relationships or even like their friends' relationships or their family's relationships. So it's really important for the community to acknowledge this as an issue. And I feel like then people can like learn the signs of an abusive relationship or like see that domestic violence is going on around them, because like Arista said, it is such a big topic that people kind of just put off to the side. So I think this month for me is a great chance for us to support survivors and listen to them and just tell them that we're there for them, because like that's what this whole, like our community should be there for each other.
Golden words. We really should be there for each other. Thank you, Summer. Aashka or Anya, would you like to add anything more?
I think they said it really, really well. I definitely agree that it's like, I think it's just more of a time to spread awareness and collect resources. And if you know someone going through those situations, just, keep them in mind, reach out, and, there's like never too much help that you can give. And, it's just mainly about, supporting people around you and making sure that this whole like domestic violence is pretty stigmatized, just in general culture, and spreading like more information and awareness is just a great way to go about it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else for me to add. But yeah, everything that they said is completely true, and like we need to support all the survivors and educate more people.
Yes, I'm also hearing how much wrapped in the word support is the belief, because many times survivors are not believed, their stories are not honored. So I really appreciate the message and the strength that you're bringing and amplifying the message of believing survivors and us, all of us showing up as community. So thank you. You're all amazing ambassadors for I think for change that I'm hopeful will come if we continue these conversations. I also want to talk about something probably that's showing up in my background, the national campaign, like SAVE has joined the national campaign of Everyone Knows Someone. And I would love to hear your thoughts, all of you, your wonderful preventionists and educating our community and really diving into conversations. How does this show up in your work or in the advocacy that you are all leaning into in the community right now? So how does this show up in your work, in your world? Everyone knows someone.
From my personal experience, I have a friend who's benefited from not exactly from my knowledge, but more so my comfort. But I feel like I've learned a few things from being in Team STYT that allowed me to react better to a close friend who had the courage to open up to me about being abused. So I guess it was kind of knowledge about how to react.
Yeah.
But I think it's really helpful to learn how to not push boundaries and react in a way that's non-judgmental while someone is opening up to you. I think it's just as important as learning about the topic itself. That way it makes people feel safer and more secure.
Kind of like Arista, I was able to use what I learned through Team STYT to help one of my friends from school who was in a harmful relationship. So like I was able to help her like connect with a trusted adult and get the resources. I connected her with Save actually. I don't know how she actually got through it. I was there for her, but I didn't ask her repeatedly about the process. But she got the help that she needed, and now she's a lot happier. And so learning about these resources really helps so I can like help others who need it. And so I know what to do. And so yeah.
For me, kind of just like both of Arista and Aashka, but I personally haven't really like experienced having to like comfort someone who has been through domestic violence. But I feel like through STYT, I feel really confident being able to like comfort someone if that were to be needed. And also like your guys' hashtag everyone knows someone, I think it's really like important because we might not even know that we know someone, but they might be going through it. So I think it's really important that we like know this phrase so that we treat everyone equally and like the same, because everyone might be going through something when we might be like having a bad day that day. And so like that shouldn't justify us treating other people badly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anya, I noticed you had unmuted your
Oh yeah. I haven't had any experiences personally comforting someone, or I don't have like a lot of information in this regard, but I definitely think, like, I agree with Summer, like everyone knows someone is a really important like phrase to think about. And especially like for me, looking back on a lot of I guess the relationships that family members or friends have had around me, I like, especially after being with Team STYT, I'm able to pick up on a lot of things that like seem very off, like warning signs. And just being able to notice certain things that seem off about a relationship, even if it's in hindsight, even if it was like a former relationship, is like very illuminating, because you realize that this can happen to anyone. That, you know, it's not like a subjective thing that only happens to specific people. It's something that is, you know, you can't, it's difficult to prevent it if you don't know or you don't have the resources to do so, right? So I think like it's just important to share resources with people in your life who you think might be victims or who you believe might benefit from like certain resources. I think like every little thing helps, and like I mean, providing support and comfort is just, it can probably be like incredibly helpful to someone in like a precarious situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, being able to identify many times things are normalized, and the more we learn and the more we are talking and conversing, the more we are able to highlight or recognize that was not healthy, that was a red flag. And from there open so many conversations, and we can really create safe spaces. So thank you. I appreciate each and every point that each one of you raised about how everyone knows someone can really show up for all of us. We are incredibly almost at the top of 30 minutes. I did not think time would fly so fast. I do want to ask all of you, since you are passionate, you have been working in the community, you know, you have a vision for what Team STYT is building, what the Youth Empowerment Group is building. What would be your one call to action for the community? What can all of us do in the community to make a difference? And if it's something different for, you know, adults, if it's something different for youth, I'm happy to hear about it. But really, what's a call to action before we close our conversation today?
I think the first step is to always educate yourself and educate others. And you hear this all the time, but it really is the first step because so many people are too lazy or they're too careless to learn about something that they haven't been directly affected by it. It's really hard to have your own sense of agency as a youth because some parents or adults can be really controlling and can downplay your feelings. And I think others will talk more about adults. But sometimes it's better to, I think, seek help from adults who do understand what you're going through first. I also think it's really important for the community to recognize the disparities and injustices that marginalized communities face, because identifying problems is also one of the first steps to bettering our society. So I think we have to check our privileges and just become more aware of stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think my one call to action would also be to educate yourselves first, because I think, like Arista said, we don't really see this until this kind of like happens to ourselves or like happens to someone close to us, but we don't recognize this as a problem until it's like something that, and before it's like too late. So I think it's really important to educate yourself first so you can see the warning signs of domestic violence and like get yourself out of that or help other friends and family members who might be going through this. So I think it's really important to educate yourself. And then for adults, I think it's really important that adults encourage their kids or their like other students to be more open to talking and communicating with trusted adults or even their peers, because I feel that if students can feel safe to communicate with others, then they'll be more likely to like show their emotions and won't be embarrassed to do that, because showing your emotions shouldn't be something that you're scared of doing or like that you're ashamed of doing, because everyone feels these emotions and there's nothing wrong with it. So I think it's important for adults to encourage their kids and their like younger youth to share, like communicate with other people and like share their emotions and make it known that sharing is not a bad thing.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Beautifully said.
What I think as well is something that adults can do is that just acknowledge that they don't always know what's best when it comes to teen dating. Sometimes they can just be harmful by saying like little things like, oh, you're too young to understand, or like you think you know everything, but you don't. Like knowledge comes with experience and it's probably not that bad. And it just dismissing teenagers as a whole demographic as like hormonal or like, I guess, moody when it comes to our own issues. So it's just kind of like learning how to, rather than putting down or getting defensive, you can just learn how to grow or change your own language and the way that you refer to specific relationships. Just be a good open resource, like so that people will actually want to talk to you. And another really big issue that, like another thing that adults can, I guess, a lot of times there's a contribution to rape culture, and like adults make a lot of rape apologist comments like, oh, you should change because like some male member of your family is here, you know, or well, that's our family or friends, so you can't just stop talking to them. Especially when like youth come forward and say that they've experienced harm, the best thing that like adults in your community can do is just support them and believe them. Don't diminish their pain, and create policies in order to protect them.
Very, very powerful call outs. Thank you. For sure, I was examining my own behaviors as you were talking, Anya. I think this is something all of us adults need to hear about and think about. So appreciate everything, Arista, you, Summer, Anya, everything that you all have raised so far. And Aashka, I would love to hear what you have to add to this.
I definitely agree with everything they said. But I think that like educating youth, not just like educating them like through SAVE or anything like that. I think like talking about it in your own home or at school is like really, really important, because if you don't, then you end up growing up and thinking that, oh, you're not supposed to talk about that, or like that's not normal, or you're not supposed to do that. And I think that talking about it from a young age is really, really important, because then you'll normalize it and think that, oh, yeah, that's not supposed to happen, or that's harmful, not normal. So I think education is really, really important.
I appreciate the patience and really the thought with which you have shared your call to action. So we're going to say we're going to close down and say bye-bye, but is there any event that's coming up that you would like to share before we shut down? And if one of you could also share again where people could follow your work, because I think it's powerful and I love the change you're bringing in our community, that we need more and more of this.
I think if there are any updates, our Instagram at Team STYT will include them. And any other questions can be sent to our email, youthservices@save-dv.org.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I thank you all again for coming here, for taking the time to thoughtfully answer the questions we had, for sharing your information, your message, your power, your mission with our community. And I think our Domestic Violence Awareness Month is so much stronger with all of you, with all the youth joining in and truly holding all of us adults accountable for our behaviors and what we learn and how we do things. So thank you all. I wish you all a wonderful day ahead, and I'm going to close out here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.